Welcome back to Your Family Farmer. Well, I did it again. I bought something my wife didn't know about. New to us, soil saver. It needs some maintenance to be done. We need to replace the hydraulic hoses. It needs to be greased up, so we're going to get that done. We're going to get it hooked up to the tractor because the next step, we're going to put it in the field and start tilling up some of the old cornfield. Here are the old hoses off of the Chisel Plow. As you can see, they're in extremely rough shape. Two 16-footers, pretty much junk. Absolutely in tough shape. I don't think there's a decent spot on the whole thing. So me being me, I decided to make up these hydraulic hoses myself, so I thought I would order them from the local auto parts store. Well, they wanted $8.70 per foot of this hydraulic hose, 4,800 PSI, and they wanted $20 a piece for the fittings. Well, that seemed a little steep, so I did a little shopping around, and I happened to find 100 feet on sale on Amazon for $115, so that's $1.15 a foot. And the attachments were $10 each. So for $80, I was able to make two 16-foot hydraulic hoses. And what I did is, we have a crimping machine at work, so I brought it in, cut up the hose, and crimped them all at work. Of course, off the clock. And got that done. So what we're gonna do is you're gonna see me tighten down these. I gotta do a little bit more work to it. Gotta put some tape in there and really tighten down these. As you can see, these ball valves need tightening. These were also in really rough shape. What I did with these is I took a wire brush to it on a grinder and I cleaned them up. I also put them in an ultrasonic cleaner for a while, and they actually turned out really nice. So you can see I got some tape in there, and we're gonna tape this end up right here. Some people might argue about putting tape on there. We just have to make sure we don't get tape on the last thread or two, so the tape doesn't get inside the hose and into the hydraulic system. So I just bought the El Cheapo thread tape, and what we're gonna try to do here is just tape the last 2 or 3 threads here. That way that, like I mentioned, hopefully then the tape won't get into the hydraulic system. I screwed that one up. Kind of hard to do here, but you also want to make sure that you tape this up in the correct direction. There we go, we got it taped up. Now we're gonna throw this end into the vise. I got my torque wrench right about there, and we're just gonna make this, as they say, farmer tight. That should do it for that one. I gotta make sure I don't put 2 of them on the same one. Oh, so that's one. Here's our other one. And here's our other one. Already losing track. I'll tape this one up too. So I could have done the easy way, and I could have bought all this and had this all done at the local auto parts store, but being on the budget that my wife and I are, being farmers just starting out, we have to shop around, spend a little extra time in doing that just to find the best price. And I actually have, let's see what it'd be, 68 more feet of hose, and we saved money on top of it. Got that one taped up as well. Unfortunately, I'm not on the farm right now. I'm actually in my shop, about 20 minutes away from the farm. Honestly, the heated shop. This is something I will miss when we do move, because we do not have a heated shop on the farm. Not yet. Someday I would like to, but we'll see. Once again, we're just gonna get these farmer tight. You'll know when you've gone too far. something will break. I've never done this before. Not a pro by any means. But that's how you learn, by doing. So there's the second one. Throw it on the chisel plow. And we'll get in the field and we'll get some, turning some dirt over. Take you guys along for that too. I don't even want to know how much a new ball valve here would cost, but we're using the old ones. Brought along our brand new hydraulic hose, so let's get it hooked up and away we go. Does anybody else have a shed full of tools that they can't find? Tools everywhere, just don't know where they are. It's a problem I have all the time. That's how I grew up, and I've been working on it. So here I wrap these up to try to get covered up so the rain and water wouldn't get into the hydraulics here. Should probably clean that up. Here's what I mean. I just wrapped them up with some rags that were laying around. Now they're just drenched with hydraulic fluid. But we're gonna hook it up here and down here after we clean it up, and it should be good to go. If you're wondering what size of chisel plow this is, it is only a 5-shank. It's one of the few 5-shanks that I could actually find, and it fits the size of this farm pretty well. We'll have put the Ford 7700 on it. It's just over about 105 horsepower. It should pull this just fine. Not too much for it. And the reason why I decided to go with this is because in the past all we've done is some moldboard plowing. And from what I've been reading, those plows are kind of hard on the soil structure. So we're going to try to go as much to no-till as possible. And then if we do have to till, this is where this comes in. So it was a good purchase. Found it probably about 100 miles east of here. So it was a little bit of a drive for us, but bought it online. Wasn't even there to look at it. Sight unseen. And it's actually in very good shape. There isn't too many things that's wrong with it other than the hydraulic hoses were toast. But structurally, looks like it's in great shape. No big bends, breaks, nothing like that. It is a Glencoe farmhand, so it was bought new by the guy that I bought it from in 1987. And I can tell he didn't put too many hours on this thing. So we lucked out with the buy over the internet. We're just going to clean up these ends here. They got some rust on them. Take the wire brush to them. And a new cloth. Should be good. Oh no, this little short little guy just did that to me. And that. Yikes. Well, son of a... Believe it or not, I actually found this tool in less than a minute. You know, the more I look at this, the more I have my doubts on whether it's going to hold up. This one's pretty rough shape. You can see all the fittings are rusted. This thing has definitely been sitting outside for a few years, if not more than a few years. But we're going to hook it up. We're going to see if the hydraulics can work without losing a bunch of fluid. Otherwise, we're gonna have to pick up a new, about a 1 foot hose, a couple fittings, and redo that there. I just want to reiterate what we're trying to do on this farm, and that is to build a better soil structure and have a more healthy soil with microorganisms and worms and everything, the way it should be. That way it'll produce better crops with a bigger yield, and especially during a drought-stricken year like we've had this year and last year, and probably 3 out of the last 5 years. So this will be a very key piece of machinery in doing that, and won't rip up the soil structure as much, which is really what we're trying to do here. So like I said, it's not a very big piece of machinery, but for how many hours we're actually going to put on it in a year, it just made sense to go with a smaller piece that's not as hard on the tractors. If during the springtime you guys are ever around farmers who are out in the field tilling up their fields and planting, you know, sometimes when there's a strong wind that comes through, it's like a dust bowl, and that has everything to do with tillage practices. Ripping up the soil is not good for anybody. It's not good for the environment. You want to keep the carbon in the soil. So that is why, once again, this will be a key piece in what we're trying to do. That, along with no-till planting, we want to get as minimal as possible, and this is just the right tool. Hey buddy, how you doing? Just getting some grub and coming over? Why aren't you on pasture like all the others? Because he's got the buffet to himself. To get the chisel plow hooked up, we're actually going to have to unhook the backhoe. We're not quite done with it. We still have a long way to go with it, but it's tying up the tractor, and I just haven't had as much time as I would like to get to those ditches. What I'm going to have to do first anyway with those ditches is I got to take the chainsaw, cut out all those trees and those shrubs before I get the backhoe back out there. So let's get to it. So we finally got it hooked up. It's ready to go for Sunday. These holes and fittings seem to be holding up all right, shockingly enough. Rule number 1 about starting up any old piece of machinery: check the oil. What the heck? You see a problem here? Those two will not go together. Obviously, somebody probably shouldn't have took it off the trailer. Now we gotta go make some phone calls and try to find it. Well, after a phone call that took a little longer than expected, we found it. It was just taken off and put in the granary. So we're gonna hook this up. This is actually a homemade piece from my cousin. He built these a few years ago. It's a quick hitch, that way you never have to get on and off to hook up the trailer. You just back up, shaft slides up, hooks right up. It's a slick deal. It makes things go a whole lot smoother and faster, a lot less up and down when you're in a hurry, or your knees hurt, your back hurts. It's kind of nice to get a break. It's a slick design. There, just like that.
I would like to thank everyone who has subscribed to our channel. Our goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers so YouTube will monetize us for our content. We are currently on pace to reach that by the year 2042.
I got my helper along, and we're gonna go pick up some corn stalk bales. Let's do it, buddy. Luke's gonna do the driving today, and I'm just gonna run the loader. Isn't that right, bud? not familiar in how this works, this was a cornfield obviously, and they take the combine to it. Combine leaves everything but the kernels. You can see there's nothing left on the cob. It leaves all this, what's left of the corn stalk. So what we do after that is we take a stock chopper or some sort of flail mower. Run over it once, kind of chops it up into a baleable material. Then we take the rake out here and rake it in a row. As you can kind of see, there's a few rows left in here that need to be baled up before we can take the chisel plow to it. Once they're baled in a nice windrow, then we bale it up, and then it's more of a bedding type of material. The cows will munch on it a little bit, maybe get a little bit of feed value. There's not a whole lot there, but throw it down for them to land. They'll eat what they want. It'll keep them warm, help keep them warm for the winter. Well, we got the corn stalk bales taken off of the field for the year, so it's another job accomplished. Hopefully we can get out there and do some fall tillage pretty quick. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit the like button, please hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you later.